Previously, Yotsuya and three girls end up in a virtual game-like world where they must fight monsters and complete various quests to be allowed to go back to the real world. Their latest quest tells them to deliver goods to a town called Ray Doderbo. On their way, they see some people being attacked by monsters, so they successfully defend them. Although the monsters have slain a few soldiers already, the surviving ones explain that they are from the kingdom of Diok, on the mission of transporting the heretics to Ray Doderbo, where they will be executed. Apparently, those heretics worshipped a god named Arteros, which is forbidden. The party is confused how the three civilians could be heretics, considering one of them is just a child, wondering if those civilians really are the goods they are supposed to deliver. Kaval, being an experienced warrior of another country, wonders why they want to execute the citizens in Ray Doderbo. Considering that town does belong to the kingdom of Diok, the soldiers explain that they are doing it to set an example, which enraged Kaval even further, stating that Diok is a dictatorship that only wants to consolidate its power over the entire continent. An argument erupts, but the party calms everyone down, deciding that they will accompany them up to Ray Doderbo. That way they will probably clear the quest, and they can see what to do next afterwards. Diok soldiers comply with the idea, since they do not want to antagonize the heroes. During their journey, the party gets a chance to talk with the heretical citizens. They learn that the kingdom of Diok is divided between citizens who worship only the king and those who worship both god and king. The two sides are hostile towards each other, and when the kingdom's leaders' statues were destroyed, it was the final straw. The king then forbade religion in its entirety, executing all the believers. The leader of Diok soldiers explains that their king is a good man that cares about his people, even awarding veterans of the war and those who have lost family members in it with free slaves. Takatati explodes with anger to that response, saying how they only bully the weak as a big and powerful country, that no one asks the slaves how they feel or think about it. Another argument breaks out, but Yotsuya manages to calm them down before it escalates. While traveling towards Ray Doderbo, they decide to take a shortcut through a tunnel that goes underneath the mountain in front of them, not realizing that it was a trap set up by the soldiers from Diok. They get trapped in the tunnel, and the exit closes off behind them. With no other choice, the party pushes on, soon having to face the intricate traps built into the tunnel passageway. Thanks to Yotsuya's gaming intuition and their ability to revive, they make quick progress. Unfortunately, Yotsuya gets stuck in a pitfall-like trap, so the rest of the group continues without him. Arriving to the final chamber before the exit, the group is forced into a battle against a gargoyle, a very strong man-made monster. In the meanwhile, Yotsuya figured out a long and strenuous way to get out of the hole he was stuck in. Eventually, with a lot of falls and deaths, he manages to get up and follow the path after the rest of the group. On the way, he sees a log point. Watching what transpired, he sees that one of the retainers who came with Kaval died to a trap. Those forced to fight the gargoyle are engaged in heated combat, with only Shindou and Kaval fighting the gargoyle head-on. Kaval gets impaled by the monster and falls into the water, while Shindou defeats a random bat, leveling up to 10 and getting her second occupation. Time stops, and the game master spins the wheel, granting her the occupation of the sword warrior. With the new athletic abilities in the sword, she is able to put the techniques that she trained with Kaval into practice, stabbing the gargoyle into its heart and killing it. Yotsuya arrives just after, and after hearing what happened to Kaval, jumps into the water and pulls her out. Thanks to his new ability to heal, which he gained from his third occupation, he manages to save her life. Afterwards, the group formulates a plan on how to get revenge on the soldiers without implicating Kaval's homeland, as well as retrieving the citizens so they can deliver them for their quest. With the quest timer running out, the party splits up for the mission. Shindou, Hakozaki, and Kaval's remaining retainer will head straight for Ray Doderbo, while the remaining three will intercept the soldiers and save the citizens. The first party looking for any possible cargo they could also find that would classify as goods for the quest. The second party has a strategy meeting on how to handle the soldiers, deciding to deceive them so they do not throw the blame at Kaval's kingdom. Yotsuya has a plan and they follow it. Once they catch up with the soldiers, they put the plan into motion. After some performance, they fool the soldiers into believing that only Yotsuya and Takatati survived the tunnel. Takatati convinces two of them to follow her, while one remains behind to watch the citizens. After the two following Takatati realize they are being misled, they rush back to their camp. But it is too late, as Yotsuya already captured the soldier they left behind, as well as taking out their means of transport. By using some props, he makes it seem like he killed the citizens already, finally dousing the props as well as the restrained soldier with oil and then setting it all on fire. With the chaos of the fire, Yotsuya and Takatati make their escape. We see them picking up the 3 citizens that Yotsuya freed before in a nearby cave. Takatati confronts Yotsuya how he could set a human on fire. He simply states that the way everything in this world works for them is like in a game, so it has to be a virtual reality of some sort. Reasoning how it was only a virtual entity. After the 2 remaining Diok soldiers sent their mislead report back home, Kaval makes her appearance, slaying them to avenge the death of her retainer. The king in Diok gets the false report, learning only that his men anger the heroes, who in return ruin their mission. Following his advisor's words, the king orders for a method to kill the heroes to be researched. Yotsuya decides to try something else out for the goods they are meant to deliver. Takatati seems repulsed by what they packed into the boxes but quickly comes around. They continue along the road and head straight for Ray Doderbo. While observing Kaval, Takatati gets the idea that she likes Yotsuya, so she keeps trying to set them up with ideal chances where they could be alone together. In the end, it turns out that Kaval just wanted to thank him properly for saving her life and helping her avenge her retainer, as she feared she would have died without realizing her goal. In the meanwhile, the first party manages to run into a carriage that is transporting goods to Ray Doderbo, convincing the driver to let them be his escort, hoping that will satisfy the goods requirement for the quest. Just as they are talking about it along the way, that part of the quest gets cleared from their log. It turns out that the goods they were supposed to deliver was what Yotsuya packed in the boxes, namely the heads of the Diok soldiers that they killed. It turns out that the second party got to Ray Doderbo first, and they went ahead to see if it would work for the goods requirement. Now the guards in Ray Doderbo learned of Diok's plot to publicly execute some citizens in their town as well. Soon afterwards, the first party meets up with them. Since Kaval only joined them until they reached Ray Doderbo, they split up from her, before splitting up among each other, so they could all go in separate directions and finish the second objective, which is to traverse 5% of the entire map. Seeing as they are close to running out of time, and with a small amount of percentage left to complete the quest, they set out. But as they are exploring, a sudden and very powerful blizzard envelops them. With their progress slowed down to a crawl, they are worried they might not make it. Not to mention the fact that if they dropped dead in this cold, they would not be able to revive, since the cold environment would keep their bodies in freezing cold temperatures at the very least until the snow thaws. Hakozaki is the first to learn that, as she succumbs to the harsh blizzard and is blanketed by snow, unable to revive. Yotsuya then falls into a cave and dies too, but thanks to the warmer environment below the ground is able to revive. There he discovers an ancient ruin. With no way of climbing back up, he decides to delve deeper into the ruins. Shindou sees how Hakozaki is unable to revive, which motivates her to push on harder. So in her hurry, she wanders over a frozen body of water. Thanks to the layer of snow above it, she cannot see that it is, in fact, thin ice she is running on. The ice breaks, and she drowns in the icy cold water, frozen and unable to revive. Inside the ruins, Yotsuya is attacked by a large worm-like monster that eats him whole, making him also unable to revive. Takatati realizes that she is the only one left standing. With no one else reviving, she is the only party member alive. If she dies, then it will all be over. In a freezing cold, she slowly begins giving up, but somehow her mental fortitude survives, making her remember all the things that motivate her to keep going. Picking herself back up, she blasts a large area around herself with flames, warming back up and pushing on. That blast of fire was enough to attract the attention of a black-haired woman riding a flying cat-like monster. The woman recognizes her as a player and offers to help. With the time almost entirely up, Takatati goes into a panic. But the woman unleashes her wind magic and makes them fly extremely fast, clearing their quest with only seconds to spare. Takatati, Yotsuya, Shindou, and Hakozaki appear before the game master, who congratulates them and allows them to ask him a question. Takatati asks the game master if the world they are in is virtual or real. He explains that they are virtually there, but the world itself is real. It is but one of infinite parallel universes. And they are on the same planet as their own, just from a different reality. The realization that Yotsuya killed a real person by burning him alive sets in, and they are transported back to our world. Yotsuya feels himself falling as he keeps thinking about the life he took. He keeps remembering his childhood and how he hates the city he lives in. Suddenly, he is contacted by the game master, who sends him a message asking him how he feels now that he killed someone. Ignoring his message, Yotsuya is struggling with himself inside of his room. Then a young girl with long black hair and blue eyes appears in front of him. It turns out that this is the game master. She keeps pressing him to answer the question. Yotsuya explains how he feels that killing the man was a mistake, and he only did it because he thought the man was virtual. The game master seems unsatisfied with the answer and sends him on a task to meet another player that will join them, leading him to a Chinese restaurant. Apparently, the new player will kill a man unless Yotsuya stops him. As the game master said, 3 masked men run into the restaurant. Yotsuya gets in their way and thanks to the skills he gained in the other world, defeats them with ease, persuading the new player and his brother from taking the life of their intended target, explaining how they are being used. The Yakuza who is using them comes in after hearing things are not going to plan, but Yotsuya knocks him out as well, leaving together with the 2 brothers before the police arrive. The game master meets Yotsuya on a rooftop, continuing the questioning about his view on human life and its value. Then Yotsuya's darker side begins to show, telling how everyone should just die, starting with the least valuable ones, and those who were tricked into killing have no value. The game master asks him what makes him think he has the right to decide that. Yotsuya laughs and says that he is nobody, just a kid with delusions of grandeur. But even so, he will fight for the justice he believes in. Hey, thank you for staying all the way till the end. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like. It takes only a second, but it means everything to us. Have a great day and see you in the next video.